Hey, hey, this is F50 Woman. Thank you for joining us. Today we are here with Carla Tillery. She is a wife, she is a mother, she is an engineer, she is
Yes.
an executive, she is a coach. She has been my executive coach and helped me through one of the hardest pivotal moments in my life as I was turning 50 and feeling stuck in my work. And so she's amazing. I'm very excited to share her with you and share her story.
Yes.
She is the host of the Chair Chronicles, which you cannot afford to miss. So search for it on Apple, iTunes, and all the channels. I'm looking forward to speaking to you. Thank you for joining us, Carla.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here and so happy to join you and your audience. It's going to be a fun journey today.
So sit tight, put your seatbelt on.
There you go.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the beginning of your life. We jump to who you are now, and then we spend a lot of time talking about what changed everything. So
Sure.
why don't you share with us who you were as a young woman, who you wanted to
Okay.
be? Yeah, just share
Uh,
that with us.
okay. So I am originally from North Carolina. And so I'm a Southerner. During that time growing up, I have my parents who are still living there in their 80s, and I have an older sister. So it was just the four of us. My mom and my dad were both educators, but having my mom hold sessions with us during the summer. Education was certainly a foundation that was just obvious in our home growing up. I was kind of like that quirky little girl, skinny, just trying to fit in like any other girl would. And I was pretty good at school academically. My sister excelled slightly. She was at a higher level than I was at high school. We were 3 grades apart. So in high school, I was like little Joy's sister. It took me a while to find my own identity growing up as a young girl. And she was very smart. So I'm just trying to keep up. I'm just trying to do the best I can to follow in such huge footsteps that my sister set for me. So
Right.
growing up as a young girl was a little challenging for me from the perspective of like any other teenager, just wanting to fit in, wanting to be liked. And I was diagnosed very early with scoliosis. And so it's a disease of the spine that curves. I had to wear a back brace all through high school. And so that was a little kind of traumatizing for me, not having to look like the other girls, but having this back brace that kept my back straight because
Yes.
we were trying to correct 2 curves in my spine. It was a little difficult as a young lady growing up. By the time I got to college, I felt a little free. I wasn't wearing the back brace. And I was just like, I'm just going to do everything that I couldn't do.
Uh-oh.
So I went to an HBCU. I went to North Carolina A&T State University, studied engineering, and that was kind of like the launching of Carla. It
Okay.
was finding my space in the world and really trying to understand like what is it going to be like as a Black female in engineering,
Wow.
because I knew at that point that it was not a lot of us. That was an interesting sort of coming to who I am today.
Right. Okay. We're going to jump right over that meaty middle and we're going to go to
Okay.
who you are now. Tell us about Carla now. Who are you and what do you do?
Oh, who am I now? So
Yes.
I consider myself a strong, confident being who knows their purpose. And I think will continue to evolve into that sort of purpose driven life. That's how I define myself, not necessarily in my roles. I am a wife of almost 30 years.
Not
I have 2 sons. They're both in their young 20s and they're defining their lives currently. And it's nice to kind of watch them come into the young men that they're evolving into. I do a lot of different things career wise. I consider myself an entrepreneur. So, what that essentially means for me is I love the adventure of entrepreneurship. I'm involved in 3 different businesses right now. My academic background, as you said, is in engineering. I work for FHI Studio, which is a planning and design firm. We do a lot of community planning, transportation planning, environmental planning. And so I'm currently the chief operating officer for the firm and also part owner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one entity that I'm involved in.
Yeah.
My husband and I started a nonprofit organization called Proverbs in 2013. So we work together not only as founders, but as the executives of the organization that really does a lot of giving back to the community and working with the youth at risk in the New Haven County area. And then I have my own private practice doing my executive coaching and life coaching. So I've got my hands in 3 different businesses. So that's why I consider myself an entrepreneurista. So
I love that phrase. First, entreprenista. I will credit
yes.
you whenever I use it. So you went from, I will say, I'm putting this word on it, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but an
Okay.
more uncomfortable young girl to evolving into college and really understanding where you fit in your profession as a Black woman to now being purpose driven, and you sound very clear on who you are, what you do, and why you do it. So
Yes, you
please,
got it.
yes. So please tell us how you went from A to B or A to C
Ooh.
or A to
Oh,
Z.
or A to Z. Well, I'm not done yet, so we won't
That's
catch me
right.
at Z yet.
Okay, that's right, because we're not done yet. That's
We're
right.
not done
That's
yet.
my
We're not
phrase.
done yet. Right.
Yes.
Wow. So there's a lot that happened in the middle. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just so much of taking on, I think, roles in life start to define who you are. And what I learned though was that is not who I am. Those are the roles that I serve in. And
Right.
so discovering who I am became this huge question mark really in my early 20s. Now, I'm also a woman of faith, so that is huge to who I am. It is a part of my upbringing, and it's certainly the foundation of which I kind of move and how I established my values and my philosophies in life. So that's just another critical element to understand about me.
Right.
In my early 20s, I got married very young. As soon as I graduated with my undergraduate degree, I literally got married. I graduated 1 week, 2 weeks later, I married and I moved out of state.
Wow.
And not just out of one state. I went from North Carolina all the way up to Connecticut.
Talk
So
about transitions.
that is a huge transition. I immediately started serving as a wife. I
Mhm.
was continuing my education, getting my master's in civil engineering. Now I'm working, serving as a wife, looking to create a family, starting my career. I had all of this going on. And I can honestly say now, looking back, I wasn't as focused on who I was becoming. It was
Right.
more about the roles that I was becoming and serving into. So
Yes.
much of my 20s and 30s was about my career, my family life, and certainly serving as a mother. I was certainly in that maternal role, making sure that my kids had everything they need. I was very much a present mom. I was involved in all of their activities, all of the extracurricular. I have 2 sons. They were actively involved in sports all of their lives. I'm the mom that was teen mom and picking up other kids. I was taxi mom. I guess now I should have called myself an Uber mom, picking up kids and getting them here and there. I was very much focused on creating my family, serving my family, and building my career at the same time. So I've got these 2 dual kind of roles that were happening.
Yes.
And what I think a lot of women don't understand is we're so focused on the serving that we're not really developing who we are
Mm.
in terms of independence. Who are you independent of being a
Yes.
wife and being a mom?
Yes.
And so that was what the challenge was in trying to find out, okay, who I am. Because at some point, the kids start to need you a little less,
Yes.
or they need you differently. The demand and the pull on a mom shifts over the course of their aging.
Yes.
And so they needed me, yes. It felt a little like it was lessened, but it certainly was different. And it freed up a lot of time for me. So now I'm like, okay, well, who is Carla? What are you going to do? What's happening in the next phases of your life?
Mhm.
Because your kids are going to grow up and create their own life, and they'll need your guidance. They'll need your support. They'll need you to provide that framework. But any mom out there kind of understands that at a certain point, they're not looking for you for everything.
And can I
And so
ask, was
then
was that a
go
was
ahead.
that a conscious were you aware of all that? Because I think when I went through that point, it was more,
Mm,
I just dove into a different role rather than thinking, who am I? And that's probably what you're talking about, is that we
mhm.
miss that whole part of thinking, who am
Yes,
I? Yeah.
we do. For me, that was very much a part of my life for my 20s and 30s. And then I
Yeah.
hit 40. I was like, okay, Carla, what's up?
Yeah.
I started to feel stuck. I started to feel stagnant.
Right.
And I was like, okay, you've got to start to really do some digging and some searching to figure out who it is that you are, independent of your husband, independent of your kids, and
Yes.
even independent of your career.
Yes.
I needed to know
Yes.
who Carla was. And so all of that for me was happening around that time frame. My kids were growing up. Now my career is at a certain point, and it's like, what do I do next? So those were the questions I was asking myself.
Okay.
Like, who am I? How do I stand on my own 2 feet now that my kids don't need me in the same way and at the same demand that they once
Okay.
did?
Okay.
Yeah, it was a
And
lot of questions going on in my head.
I only pause because I feel like you're a very conscious, very
Mm,
present in your life type person. And I don't know if there are a lot of women like that. We tend to just be and dive in and do and serve, like you said,
yeah.
serve. So
Hmm.
maybe it's just about pulling back and being conscious and taking a minute.
It yes. And I'm also analytical. So, it can
Okay.
work for you and against you because I think, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's difficult to shut it down. One thing I did learn about myself is that I am a planner at heart.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that until probably about in my 30s when I look back. You know how sometimes you write the memoirs in your high school yearbook, and
Yeah.
I reflected on things that I said that I wanted to do. So
Hmm.
I'm 16, 17, writing down what I wanted my life to look like without realizing I was acting my life.
Mm.
By the time I got 30s and I'm cleaning up the basement, I found my yearbook and I read what I wrote. I was like, wow, in 20 years, I wanted to be married. I wanted to have 2 kids. I wanted this kind of job. And
Yeah.
I pretty much had done those things at
Yeah.
the time frame that I said. So I didn't even realize how much of a planner I was. And then my career is in planning, transportation projects and things like that. So I was like, goodness, I didn't realize I was that much of a planner. I love doing social events, and I ended up being a wedding planner for a few people. Planning is in my bones. I think that was a part of it for me because I'm naturally a planner. I'm an analytical thinker. And
Hmm.
so those skill sets allowed me to really look at my life in a different way, trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of it. So this happened. So why? And what's the result? And now what do you do from here?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that is probably a natural way that I was thinking. But to interpret that for someone else, I would say you need to take time to sit, to think, to pause, to look at what you've done, figure out what you want, and then
Hmm.
create a plan that allows you to reach it. I feel like it's that simple, and I know it's not, but the steps are simple. It
Yes.
really is to take a pause, figure out what is it that you want, and
Hmm.
then devise a plan that helps you create that. I do believe we have the ability to create the life we want. Now, I'm not saying that comes easy. I'm not saying it doesn't come with hurdles. I'm not
Right.
saying it doesn't come with challenges. What I'm saying is we have the opportunity to stop and pivot when we need to.
Right. Yes. So, what in all of this would you say is your biggest life lesson?
My biggest
Yeah.
life lesson.
Because it feels like the transition for you was, I know you had your challenges, but it felt smoother
Yes.
because you're very conscious. So, what was your biggest life lesson?
My aha occurred at the age of 40. And I don't know why
Okay.
40 was the big deal, but it was a big deal for me. And that's when I talked about like that stopping and pausing. I was doing a lot of that approaching the age of 40. And what I wanted to do was revamp my life in a
Okay.
more intentional way.
Okay.
And again, I can't really figure out like exactly why I was at 40, but
Hmm.
I think at that point I was really trying to redirect my life because I had a little bit more time. Kids at this point were doing their thing, and me and my husband were good, but he had his interests and I had my interests. So I had some time to figure out, like, what do I want to do next? That was what caused me to do some soul searching. I chose to not be so predictable.
Okay.
In my look and everything. So I cut my hair and dedicated the whole year to trying something different that I had not done in my entire life. Leading up to 40, every single month, I dedicated time to celebrate me and do something different. That was the beginning and the turning point, or that aha moment for me, because I chose to create time to celebrate me, discover new experiences, and let life go from there.
Right. Okay. And I just want to reiterate that choosing to do something unpredictable.
Yes.
That just gets you out of your mind space, out of your physical space,
Team.
even change the way you're thinking
It
about your life.
changes, it can change your whole perspective.
Yeah.
And so just doing those things was the catalyst for me launching into more confidence, to using my voice and finding that and being okay with my voice.
Yeah.
And that really allowed me to start to stand in who I am.
Now, do you remember any of those things that you did that were unpredictable?
I do.
Maybe one you could share with us? Okay.
Sure, I didn't overplay it.
Unpredictable for you and me is different, but
right, but it was life-changing for me. Here are some things that I did. I went horseback riding, had never done that. I cut my hair, which I probably had the same style for the last 20 years. So a lot of my girlfriends was like, I can't believe you finally did it. Yep, I did. I was intentional about experiencing different restaurants that had different entrees and things like that. I was trying new things, from foods to new places to different activities, and skiing. And so from a young girl from the South, moving to the North, that's a big deal.
It is. It's a completely different experience.
So I was just being adventurous and trying different things. For me, it doesn't seem like it's all of that kind of like, wow, horseback riding. Okay, big deal. For me, it was huge because I had never done it.
Yes.
And so I started spending more time outdoors. I started trying different things. Let me make it personal. When I was taking care of my kids, it was really about them.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing all of these different activities. And there's some women who can kind of create that balance, but I was very focused. It was about them. And so I didn't know what things I really liked. Doesn't that sound strange?
No, it sounds very normal to me, but it's very normal. Somebody asked me once, what do you like? And I'm thinking, I don't know.
What do I like?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so when I was 40, this is the era when I was finding out, what do I like to do?
Yeah.
And I found a lot of new interests. And so again, that really opened up my eyes. It opened me up into a new space, a new perspective. And the other thing that was huge for me was learning how to say no. I grew up watching Oprah doing all her talk shows.
Yes.
I think it was a talk show about saying no. I think I've heard her say that at different points throughout watching her. I finally got it. People can always ask you to do a lot of things. If you're compassionate, you love people, you want to stay connected to people, you can end up being that yes person.
Yes.
I'll do it. Yes, I'll help you out. And you'll find yourself extending beyond your limits. That's when we become stressed and overwhelmed. As a part of turning 40, I recognized that I had a voice and that I can still show compassion, be loving, stay connected without overextending myself.
Yes.
And so the art of saying no became something that was pivotal for me in becoming who I am today, because it freed me up to do what I wanted to do, not what I felt obligated to do. That sounds selfish. However, that was the era for me to really work on me. And you have to take that time to do it. And sometimes it hurts people that are close to you because they can interpret it as selfish. But for me, I said, I will try to do what I can, maybe connect you to another resource, or maybe it's not right now, I can do it later.
Yeah.
But I became very intentional about making sure that I didn't sacrifice me. I think this was the era for me to really grab hold of me. And I didn't want to lose that.
And then would you have as much to overflow onto others right now if you hadn't taken that time?
Oh my God,
No?
no, I would not. I would not have the capacity to do all of the things that I do, which is really not focused about me. It's focused about community. It's focused about people. It's focused on organizations. I wouldn't even have the opportunity to do that, the capacity mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, and spiritually to do all those things had I not taken that time to rediscover who I am.
Yes. Yeah.
And to find out, why am I here?
Yes. I think that's key.
That's
Otherwise,
key.
you're floundering around being drawn by each and every
Yes.
opportunity, or like you said, ask, or you're just floundering around.
You're floundering around because a lot
Mhm.
of times we're so driven by external forces, external things,
Yeah.
people on the outside, that we don't take time to listen to the little voice that's inside.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you've had it, but people come up to you and say, "Hey, you should be this. You should go for that position or try to do that service project." And you're thinking, "Okay," but then you do it and you're half in and you're not good at it because
It's not you, you're not satisfied, you're not happy.
yeah.
And I've seen too many people just do without being. And there's a huge difference. We
Okay.
do a lot of things,
Yeah.
but to create the ability to be who you
Mhm.
were designed to be and to fulfill why you are here takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of courage and some searching. And you need time to do that.
Yeah.
So
Now,
a lot of people take sabbaticals and things like that. I have heard about that, but now I understand the importance of it, because sometimes you need that set aside time to really do a lot of that intro respect,
yes. Yeah. Searching of yourself. Yes.
searching of yourself.
Now, did you have anyone helping you with this along the way? Did you have a mentor? Did you have someone you went to when you were stuck?
Mm. I have a lot of people in my life that I pull on for different things. I was able to really identify who could help me in certain areas. So it wasn't just one person. I utilize a lot of different resources. I'm fortunate to have strong parents that really have been great examples for my life. My mother, who was a trendsetter and worked in spaces where she was the only Black female, I learned a lot from her how to navigate where I am in
Okay.
my space where there are very few Black females. So certainly she was like the first sort of example and mentor as a woman, a
Okay.
working mom. That taught me how to be a working mom
Yeah.
and search for that like balance. My faith came from my parents that instilled that in me. So then as I'm becoming older, I had a mentor, certainly professionally. She started off as my supervisor. She's now the president of FHI Studio, who
Mm.
has certainly been a mentor for me professionally. That has been awesome to learn how to walk as an executive, to learn how to be a strong leader.
Mhm.
That is not just a supervisor, but a leader. There's a huge difference, I think, between
Yes.
managing people and projects versus leading people and leading projects. I certainly had her as a mentor. I also have some very strong godmothers in my life
Mhm.
that spiritually, emotionally, and mentally supported me and mentored me to get through some tough moments. I had a variety of people that work with me in different eras of my life and
Mhm.
also work with me on different things in my life.
Okay.
So that has been extremely valuable to have people I could go to.
Were any of these mentors or sponsors sought out? Did you seek any of them out, or did they all happen into your life? Is it more of a spontaneous thing for you, or did you say, "Oh, I'm stuck in this area. Let me go find someone"?
They were spontaneous But I always encourage people, if they don't have them in their circle or environment, to seek them out. I've been sought out as a mentor for other people. So there were people who intentionally said, I would love for you to be a mentor. Can you help me? Absolutely. So I think it can work both ways. But for me, it ended up being a little bit more spontaneous
Okay.
in that respect.
Okay. So you're walking down the street and you see a young woman, and it's you. You're Carla now, and you see her coming towards you, and you're looking at her, and she doesn't look like she's doing so well. What
Mm,
would you tell her from your place now? What advice would you give her?
mm. I would tell her that, first of all, I would say, oh, would you like some coffee? Let's go sit down and talk.
Yes. Hopefully, I'm with you as your friend. I can get some coffee too.
Nothing like having an intense conversation over
Oh,
breaking bread.
that's right.
But I would tell her that life can be lonely. And you can feel lonely even surrounded by support,
Yes.
surrounded by good people. And that life can sometimes feel like not that it's a bad day, but that it's a bad month and it's a bad year
Yeah.
or bad years. You can hit a point in life where it feels like nothing is moving, nothing is going right, and you can feel so alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell her, even when she's feeling lonely, to draw from strength within.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how strong I was until I looked back over my life and realized that I had gotten through those terrible high school years wearing a back brace
Yeah.
and not feeling like I fit in. I was able to survive college life and all that comes with it, from just the academic pressures of deadlines and studying and exams and all of that, and still trying to, find out my confidence and find out how I'm going to become, later in life. What's my career going to look like, and all of these things. If you look back, you'll realize that you had strength to get through to where you are. And that goes unnoticed sometimes. We really do have the strength already inside of us, the resources, the intelligence, everything that we need. We just need to tap into it. I would tell that young lady that life will be heavy, it will feel lonely at times, but trust who you are on the inside, to
Mm-hmm.
allow you to become who you want to become, and to not rely on everybody else telling you who you are and what
Yeah.
to do all the time. Sometimes we get so much chatter from
Yes.
everybody else giving us advice, our heads are spinning.
Yes.
Sometimes we just need to settle in ourselves and think things through, and then again start to pull yourself out.
Yeah. That's great advice. I like that. So, Carla,
Ooh,
I'm thinking about that now. I'm thinking, okay, got to think about that in the future because that's not going to end. I imagine,
no,
the next 40, God willing, I get another 40,
right.
that may happen again.
And I think we underestimate, well, I shouldn't say that. We don't often think about
Hmm.
a period of time when things are not going well. We think about moments,
Yes.
but not a series of days, a series of months, a series of
Yes.
years that
Yes.
could happen to you. I don't think anyone ever sat down and said to me, you hear the expression, life isn't fair, but
Yeah.
they don't really give you an example of how it shows up.
Yes. That's
Because we
right.
still
Yeah.
get surprised. We
Yeah.
still get surprised when life isn't fair.
We do. And we
And
spend a year
sometimes we
asking
don't,
why.
and we spend a year asking why. And I don't think anyone ever prepared me for it. And again, looking back, it's easy to tell yourself these things,
Yeah.
but I think too, depending on the age, I don't know if I would have heard it either in my 20s. If
Maybe the
somebody
right
sat
moment
down
and
and told you all of this, would you grab it? Would you be like, yes, and take that advice at that point in time? I don't know. That's the hard part, because I think sometimes in our younger age, we're not ready to listen to anyone else. I would tell them to open themselves up and to listen to the wise woman, to the woman who's had some experience,
Yeah.
because some of the things they experience, you will most likely experience as
You
well.
will. Yes. I'm betting for at least 90%. Unless it's something just out of the ordinary, completely out of the
Right,
ordinary.
right.
Carla, what is next for you? Let's talk about the next phase. What do you?
Looking forward to. So
Yeah.
my next is Once I feel like I'm wrapping up a part of my career over the next 5 to 10 years, and I'm excited about retiring. I talk about it all the time
Do you
now.
really?
I do, because I've seen so many people not know what to expect. I'm a planner, right? So I'm going to be thinking 10, 15 years down the road
Yes.
what I want to do and how I want to continue to show up in the world
Mhm.
when I have a little bit more time to do some other things. So that's what my next is.
Okay.
My next is preparing myself to continue to live, to continue to enjoy being adventurous. I may be looking to relocate.
Mm.
I'm excited about sharing more time with my husband to do some things. He's already in early retirement. So we got the space,
Lag,
a
yeah.
little space where there's a little
Mhm.
bit of lag. As I'm preparing to catch up to where he is,
Mhm.
I'm really excited about just spending that time traveling. You know, if there are grandchildren that come into my life, I plan on being very present, not as a grandma, but as a G-ma.
There you go.
I already got my name.
You got your name.
I'm G-ma. I'm not grandma, I'm G-ma. So I'm looking forward to all of those things. So that's what's next. I think my private practice will be something that continues with me. I'm excited about being able to do more and to service more people in the areas of executive coaching and life coaching. When I say retire, it really is just retiring from one element of my life and ramping up the other. I'm not stopping living.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about that, because a lot of people think of retirement as just stopping life, and that's not how I see it.
Yeah.
I'm excited because it'll be a different mix of what I'm here to do.
And you know, Carla, I'm very into mourning, retirement, and even aging. I'm really into preparing for those things. You might not even think anybody's going to pass away, but what will it look like when it
Oh
happens?
yeah.
I'm not prepared for retirement, but what does that look like? Like you said, we just say, oh, it's all done and I don't see people anymore and I go home and sit on my couch and do what?
Oh
And then you die.
yeah.
I love that you're saying that you're just transitioning into the next thing, and it's almost like there's an overlap in the things
Yes.
happening.
I'm doing this shift. And so as I decrease my level of activity and involvement in one thing, it's
Mhm.
kind of increasing in the others. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm doing a transition into retiring from one element of my life so that I can create more space, energy, time, and commitment to the other things that I want to do, like
Yeah.
to through the end of my life. I think that's important. Not only just setting up the financials, setting up just the things that you need to do for your family, because I certainly am a believer that in preparing for death,
Yeah.
which sounds like a harsh thing, but we need to prepare for it, that there are certain things that we need to put in place.
Yes.
And I want to do it while I'm healthy, while I'm in good mind, to make those decisions that are necessary for the next generation.
Yes.
So my husband and I have a lot of conversations with our parents and with our children about we're setting this up and this is what we want to happen and this is how things should take place. Should something happen very quickly, we want our kids to be prepared for that. So I'm not going anywhere just yet.
I know we're
I'm
not
working
planning on
on
letting you go anywhere either.
I'm very focused on my health and nutrition right now, really looking at a fitness routine that I can maintain.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. Making sure I stay on my health with my screenings. And all of those things are so important
Yeah.
because I want to stay active. I want to stay active.
When you're with the grandkids, yeah, down on the
Yes.
floor.
They'll be like, oh, is that your mother?
Yes. Yes, I got into that nice planning and the routine, but that is so important for us because
It's so
we're
important.
no longer in the zone of I want to lose 20 pounds in a month for the prom. You know, I'm gonna lose 40 pounds. Now it's just we have to stay healthy and take care of our bodies so we can be active until we are no
Right.
longer here.
And we have to be more intentional, especially for women over 50, because
Mhm.
our bodies are going through so many different changes
Yeah.
that sometimes it's hard to figure out what works
Yes.
health wise, maintain healthiness, what works for your body. I'm finding that over a lot of women that I'm connected to, we're all struggling with different things and trying to share different antidotes, and it doesn't always work. It really is customized for you. You have to be patient to keep trying different things, trying different fitness programs, or trying different health foods and nutritions and to find the right health plan that works
Yes.
for you.
It's like you said, not everything is for everyone.
It's not going to
Yeah.
work for everyone.
So
Yeah.
I have my most favorite random question.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Before I die, God willing, I'm going to have the answer to this question.
Okay.
And that is, why do you think evil spreads faster than love? Or do you even think that's true?
Does evil spread faster than love?
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, it does.
Okay.
And I would say that based on just, again, acknowledging my faith,
Mm-hmm.
that when we come into this world,
Mm-hmm.
we do not have to teach a 2-year-old how to lie, how to be deceptive. You can watch a 2-year-old and they know intuitively that they shouldn't do things, but they'll be looking to see if somebody's watching.
Hey, that's I
And
never thought of.
you'll tell them no, and they'll still try it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some things that just are in our natural state of being, I guess, protective of ourselves or selfish to try to do what we want to do regardless, regardless of the rules,
Right.
regardless of what's good or what's bad.
Yeah.
And there are just some things that we don't teach our kids. I don't know any mom who teaches their kids how to lie, but they know how to do it. Our kids, they're playing and they don't share. You got a ball and they immediately start to fight. Right. You don't teach your child to fight when somebody doesn't give you something you want. I believe there is a little bit of this kind of natural state in which we're born in, that there are these things that we innately do without being taught. And some of those things are the most evil. So we as parents work really hard to say what is good, what you should do, how you should act. It's not that we teach our kids how not to, because they know, but we work so hard to teach what is right. Yeah. How you should conduct yourself, how you should eat at the table. We spend a lot of our lives mentoring and grooming what is good. Yeah. And so I believe there is just this natural instinct to operate in what's not so good. Right. So yeah, I think that's why it spreads faster, because it's so natural. We have to fight so hard to do what is right. There have been so many times where we have our tug of war between what we know we should do versus what we want to do.
Oh, only you have that problem, not me. No. That is so true.
No matter how good you try to be, listen, we get that tug of war. We're warring with ourselves about doing the right thing, because we oftentimes want to do the wrong thing. Somebody cut you off, you ready to go off, and you want to do the road rage and all of that. And it's like, come on, you know what the right thing to do is. Yeah. Let it go. Let it let it go. It's like choosing the right battle. You know, sometimes we just want to go at it, and that seems to come so quickly. The fight usually is fighting to do the right thing. Yeah. So yeah, I do believe that.
I'm just going to throw this one at you, Carla.
Uh-oh.
So do you think, which one is more powerful?
Which one is more powerful?
If you were to say, is love more powerful or hate, which one do you think is more powerful?
Oh, love.
And why?
Love definitely is. That's why we struggle to bring it into the world, I think, because it is so powerful. It can create such a dynamic change in life and in a person's life, that I think that's why it's such this tug of war for it to exist constantly. Yeah. And I believe love can root out evil and hate. And we just have to keep demonstrating it. We just have to keep, when you see evil, demonstrate good. When you see someone doing the wrong thing, you got to encourage them to do the right thing. When you were challenged to do the bad thing, the wrong thing, you challenge yourself to do the right thing. And it comes by example. When we see more people doing acts of kindness and acts of love, it can be contagious. I want to be a contagion for love. I want to be a contagion for doing the right thing. That's what I want to be. I can catch a cold if I stand next to you, but I'm going to protect myself and show you how to do the right thing. So I want to be a contagion for the right things. Yeah. And so when I see the wrong things happening and I'm around negativity, it's not going to stay with me too long because that's not who I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to override that. I will shut it down.
Yeah.
I will not entertain a whole bunch of negativity for too long, because when you do, it kind of infuses into who you are.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody letting me have a bad day. I'm going to control my space. The more we exercise it, it gets stronger.
I love it. I'm glad I asked you that question because that
A
just makes sense.
a very simple example of that is I've been in the Dunkin' Donuts line where somebody ahead of me paid for mine, and then I paid for the next person. I've seen someone at the grocery store struggling to find change to pay their bill. I was like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And then people notice that. And then the next thing you know, they're doing something similar. So it is contagious. We just have to see it in operation more for it to spread everywhere you go.
Yes. I have so many questions, so many things I need answered. But I think you're amazing. You just are so thoughtful about life. You know, you're an incredible blessing to me. When I was working on myself and my work, lost my dad and trying to squirm out all that. I just want everybody to listen to you, to the Chair Chronicles. I'm not just saying that because she's a guest on my show and you should watch her show. You are just full of wisdom and you don't just share things. It's just very thoughtful and it really helps you to get to the meat of wherever you're stuck or whatever question you have. I just appreciate you for that. And I look forward to you being a part of my life for the long term.
Yes. Oh, it was such an honor to, I consider an honor when people allow me to come into their life, into their space, into their part of their journey where they are.
Yeah.
I so appreciate the time that we've had together. It has been fantastic. And I would say that it has a dual purpose because I learn a lot. I learn and I grow as well from connecting with other people. So it's fantastic that we have this connection, and I'm looking forward to more special moments that the two of us will have and share.
Yes,
so
for
thank
sure.
you so much.
Please tell us if someone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that? Your media channels, email, how would you like them to get in touch with you?
Oh, absolutely. So my email is Carla D. Tillery. My website address is carladtillery.com. Just about everything you can find on Carla D. Tillery. My podcast is a video and audio podcast, so you can find it on YouTube just do a search for Carla D. Tillery and the Chair Chronicles will show up. It's also available on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts as well, and Podbean. You also can get a hold of me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So just search Carla D. Tillery and you'll be able to find me.
And if they have questions or they want to message you, which is the preferred? Some people like the LinkedIn Messenger, some people like the Facebook Messenger. What do you check the most?
What do I check the most? It's probably Facebook, but I do check LinkedIn as well. So either one of those to message me is fine. Or if you want to send me an email, that works too. I'll connect with you in one way or another if you reach out.
Okay. One more question.
Sure.
What is the one thing that you can't not do every day?
That I have to do every day? Ooh. Besides brushing my teeth?
Right. Well, that could be one.
I would say my own personal meditation, which comprises of prayer and listening to music. So that's one of the things that helps ground me. It's what helps get me started on my day. So that kind of waking up, being thankful, and that gratitude is what really helps me stay focused for the day. So that's my have to.
Okay.
And brushing my teeth.
Maybe taking a shower, but I don't know. Now with the quarantine, people don't do that every day. They don't have to. And I know I said one more question, but I forgot to ask you, what is the one book you'll recommend to other women?
Oh, one book, The Purpose-Driven Life.
Okay.
Yes, by Rick Warren.
And why would you pick that one?
Because I think that will help you start to understand and identify why you're here.
Nice.
That's who I am, really helping people discover that life purpose. The Purpose-Driven Life has a workbook associated with it because I think there's work to do in that discovery.
Well, thank you, Carla. It was wonderful to have you. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for your wisdom. We look forward to hearing from you more.
Thank you so much.